Our School of Architecture and Design is the first international school in design in Thailand, and our focus is on creativity. Yeah, one of the culture in the school is that we would not treat our students only as students. We treat them equally like colleagues. So this is why, even our lecturers can learn from the students, as well as the students will learn from the lecturers. We are more like a family than a school. So that's very important culture in the school, and that's why, students can discuss openly with the lecturer. Right now, our main learning space is at Bangkok campus. But we have also classes at the main campus, which is located in Prachavutit. Also, we have the venue in the city we call KX, just right nearby Vong Vien Yai BTS station. A lot of times we are working right now with private sector, so they would provide the brief for some of the projects, so the student would have a chance to work not only with students or lecturers, but also have a chance to work with private sectors and understand the market needs better than, just working with lecturers. If you realize that your interest is around creativity, please come and join our creative community here at SoA+D. We are very willing to welcome everybody as part of our family. Thank you.
Greetings and good morning, everyone. I would like to thank every single one of you who joined all of our live sessions and all the students who joined the workshop yesterday. And we have come to our final session, and thank you so much for being here as well. My name is Tim, and I'm a third-year student at SoA+D, and it is my pleasure to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for the day. As usual, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. For housekeeping reasons, I would like to remind you that online event is being recorded, and if there are any problems hearing us, please don't be afraid to let us know. And your participation throughout this session is very well appreciated. Please ask us questions, write down comments in both YouTube live chat and Facebook comments. The School of Architecture and Design Open House 2020 has definitely been a success. Previously on this event, on 15th, we had our opening event in which we showed the audience how to use the virtual platform and the student showcase, and then introduce our programs and a new program. And we had an experience sharing session from our seniors and alumni of SoA+D. On 16th, we had an alumni talk with the topic, The Value of Design Skill in Digital World, where we had people who talked about computational design. P Tong talked about UI and UX. P Meng talked about immersive design, and P Cheng shared her experience as a YouTuber and a designer. Please do not be worried if you missed all these events. Recording of all of this, both of these days are on our YouTube channel and are on our Facebook page. Addition to these lives, we also welcome you to take the virtual tour and visit the online exhibition. Link to these platforms will be provided in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get started with today's program. So the topic for today is career path as a designer and entrepreneur. Being a designer and an entrepreneur is not an easy path, and on top of that, you have to be able to read the fast-moving pace of the world, both as a designer and an entrepreneur. Today, our alumni representing the 4 programs will share their experience being abroad, or being founding a business here in Thailand. So we have P Boy representing architecture, P Fon from interior architecture, P Duk Dik from design innovation, and P Min from communication design. And they have started their journey as entrepreneur. We're gonna hear about them very soon. So let's begin with the first. We have P Boy, Mr. Pongpat, Sangkomsat, is the co-founder and design director of Anonym Studio. He studied in architecture program at SoA+D. Afterwards, before founding Anonym, he worked in Bangkok and Singapore. Anonym design philosophy is focusing on balancing relationship between spaces, people, and contexts as a result for meaningful design and unique characteristic space that belong to each project. สวัสดีครับพี่บอย
Hi, team. Thank you for introduce me.
Yep, the floor is all yours ครับ
Okay. I'm older, right? So I'm speak first. Okay. We have about 25 minutes, and this is. Shall we start? Okay. Here is my short biograph. My name is Pongpat. I'm from Anonym Studio, and I was born 1929. Yeah, 42 years old right now, and I graduated here since 2003. And I used to work as a team said Bangkok and Singapore, and which is we're gonna explain next slide. And then I'm start to do my own studio 2016 with co-founder Pipan Dongchai Ruchnavet. And I used to recognize by this scene. We received top 10 into design since 2016 from the small project. And the other one is from the Design Boom 10 Reader Submission 2017. And also get the top 20 best house from the Habitat magazine. Okay, and I used to teach ABAC. I think almost 2 years ago. 2 years. Yeah. And here is my thesis. I did Contemporary Performing Arts Center. The site was at the Alumni Bazaar. And unfortunately, I don't have much soft file, so this is what I get. This is the rendering. In that time, I think almost 19 years ago, we already have the 3D software. We using 3D Max in that time, and I think somebody are using at the moment. And here is some our rendering and some sketch. And parallel time, we also use hand sketch as well, because I would like to do when we do a thesis, I want to explore and try to did so many skill, even the renderings, 3D software, and even the hand sketch. Here are hand sketch on the perspective on the auditorium. And even the plan, I also use the hand sketch. And my experience is first part. First part is I used to work with the KNCA Architect and A49 and SLA. And where the first company that I used to apply as a student internship, I used to apply and work there 4 months. And after I'm graduated, I joined this company. And why I joined this company? In that time, we don't have information much in the Google. And then, but I want to work abroad. So I'm planning to go Singapore, Hong Kong, or Japan. But unfortunately, in that time, the Japan doesn't recognize Thai people much in that time. So I keep searching and found this company by looking from the Architecture Asia magazine. And there was one project. It's very interesting. They invite 10 studio from all Asia, which is there is one Thai studio from Thailand, and which is Ajahn Lek Space Time. And then I found this company. The name is KNCA, which is do a lot of house, and the way of their work is quite interesting in terms of the composition, in terms of the detail, in terms of the how create the sense of the relate between the landscape and architecture. And it's the name of the Kenny Tang. Yeah, this is his office. And when we work there as a really junior architect, they treat us as a designer. I did everything. I did even the sketch. I did 3D rendering. I did model, which is I think Thai people, we have a lot of good skills. So Singaporean, they quite love Thai people. Even the European or USA, I think our skill is very good. So yeah, of course we practice a lot. We did physical model, we do a residential, and we did some commercial as previously the sketch, which is that like a library, So I have learned in terms of the scale, in terms of the dimension of the interior space. And this is my my last photo when I go back from my apartment. I took my somebody cat. And during that time, when I come back to Thailand, I did some competition with my friend who name is Pitoi, นะครับ and this one is good luck. We won the competition, which is there are 303 people. And then when I go back to Bangkok, I have a senior friend recommend me to join the A49 as architect. And here is this studio. A49, there are 4 or 5 session studio in that time. And then I joined with the international session, which is I did a lot of the various project, even the resort, hospitality, and condominium, and even the residential. So I have learned a lot about how to create some kind of the zoning and planning and the detail of the project. Here's my senior friend, and which is Pivan. He teach me a lot. And the day this photo that I went there to compliment him, and because he set up his studio architecture on my own. And then I joined the last firm, which is we call SLA, as a senior architect, and become an architect director. I used to work over there almost 10 years. The owner is the green shirt, and who is the next of me is Pipan. And the owner he teach me a lot in terms of the how to work with the people, how to communicate with the people, and he gave me a lot of opportunity to do a project. And there are 2 high-rise projects that I have done with this firm. It's we call Ban Pai Hat. It's a high-rise condominium, which is almost 23,000 square meters. Well, we work with P Pok, who is a landscape designer. Here is some lobby downstairs. And the second project that I have done with this firm is we call A Sathorn Tower. I think it's quite close to the SoA+D. I don't know what is the name, sorry. And here's some lobby. This project we worked almost 5 years. Yeah, the owner is a Hong Kong. So the project is very rigid, and very, very typical. And but what I learned here is I work with the Obayashi contractor. So which is they gave me a lot of the detail. He teach me a lot of the how to do some drawing. Obayashi is very good. So very good luck to have a chance to work with them. And then part 2 that I open my studio, because I actually it's very coincident, because I study. Sorry, I teach at APAC, and there were 2 students asked me to apply internship student. In that time, I don't have a place right now, so I think it's not appropriate that if some of them work with me at my apartment. So we rent the studio, very small. I think 3 times 3 meters. With the French guy, we rent the second floor, and then we start hire more people. Until right now, we have about 11 staff. And Pipan is next of me right now. This is our studio. We did a lot physical model. We cut the model, and all of them are complete and construction at the moment. Here is the back of the office. We need some space for ventilation sometime. And when I work my own studio right now, we are going to 6 year, and we just realized that what we interesting about 3 words in the last year. So first one is a natural integration. We try to communicate with the landscape and architecture. We try to link those things between each other. And the second thing is about the empty of space. I think we need this one. As you know, when during the COVID situation, it's very clear. People are very understand why they need a space, because we need some space to get some breathe, even the visual, even the physical, something like that. And the last thing is about the detail, which is we quite like to do some kind of the detail. We're very upset with the detail. And here's our first project from Anonym. Is my father-in-law, Pipan Fathers. So this is our first project that I have done at Nakhon Pathom. We're talking about the ventilation. The site was facing to the north and south. So the wind is very good through, very good ventilation. And as you see this picture, we're talking about the space. We put some kind of the green space between those house. So we can have some kind of the privacy, and we also have distance between each other. And the next one, I did this one in the presentation. I did for my sibling, who is very old people, and then I keep explain about I'm trying to create some kind of the shading in the morning. We use the tree opposite the wall and let the sun behind, and then we can create the shade of the wall, which is in the first time my sibling he doesn't understand, and when the project done he quite like it. It's very good feedback. And this project we try to talking about we try to insert between the facade and the landscape, which is at the first time we try to put the real plant, but during that time we figured out why don't we just invite some people as an artist ceramic to do olive tree. Right now, in the picture we did 100 second numbers of the olive tree. Yeah. So Kun Aw, who is a artist ceramic, she did this one. And this project, the owner just want a space for children run, just like that. So we do like a pavilion and let the owner and children, they have space for run. But the detail that we would like to show this picture is about the fence, the wall. As you see, we did some kind of the horizontal channel, which is we try to bring the context behind the wall, so the people inside can see something behind, which is the owner also really very like it. Yeah. And this one is a very small project. It's about 100 square watt, and the owner is a doctor. So he's very fast when we're talking. When at the first time he talk very fast. So I want to create something that he may make it slower. So we try to put some tree on the second floor and third floor. Here's some drawing that we scoop the space between the tree massing, and we elevate the whole function on the second floor and third floor, and downstairs was a car park. And the owner, they would like to see the car on the bridge, because this side is the context very close to the bridge. And this one we create some courtyard, which is like a U shape. And this those picture came from the owner. And the left one is she told me that she will enjoy sit here in the morning and drink some coffee, and there is some cat to sit here all the time, which is, I think, is very very good when we do a house. When we do a house, it's very touched, because you did for them. It's not commercial. It's not for everyone. And this the next project that the owner, they want to live as a resort. So this one we're talking about the material. We used some kind of the stone, some kind of the wood, and even the ceramic tile. This one is we create some sequence before entry the house. So we make the entries very large scale in terms of the height. Here are some natural light into the house, which is I keep asking the photographer to make the photo look the same with the real one when we saw. So this one is quite close. So we pick this picture to present you guys that the natural light is very important. Even the furniture, even the material, even the color combination, we have to figure it out what is the balance between the whole space. And here are some backyard, which is we select the tree. I think the shape is very very fabulous, very very nice, and the quality of the light, we very happy with that. And here's another project that we do some kind of the detail of the shell. We use small wood and stick, like some kind of stick wood. We make some curve, and that we select the material of the floor and the wall, even the how to say loose furniture. We try to use all of those things match each other. And here is the front of the house, which is we share space between the new one and the existing one. Existing one is opposite of the father and mother of the owner. And here is the day that we invite my staff to see the house, and the owner welcome us, even the summer and sunny, the golden retriever. And here's the last project that I would like to share. We call Ban Sai Lom. And this project, the owner who is used to work with me as a student internship, and he worked abroad, and he very successful. And then he asked me to do his house. His house is at Rabanai, and next to the Dinai. And he asked me, is it possible to do a house with 3 family? And Pong Nu, father and mother of Pong, and father and mother of Nu. So there become 3 family. And then I just do some roughly sketch that we would like to do some kind of the service apartment. We split the floor for each floor for 1 family. But we would like to make some kind of the connection. So I keep thinking we probably to do some kind of the corridor to connect each other, so people can see when they go out, and it's good to create the connection between the space. And also we study about the flow of the wind, and on the left that is a section diagram that we would like to create some wind. So we lift up the roof. As you see the blue line, we try to create the wind, and the right hand side is I think it's about the diagram that I quite like it in terms of the dynamic of the space. And here's our first slide that we first meeting that we show them. We collage the picture. We explain just this one without any plan. And the downstairs is a common area and with double volume. And this project is there one program which is very interesting is a climbing wall. The owner there, he don't have much time to go outside to play climbing wall, so he asked me to do a climbing wall in the house. And then you can see the section is really close to the real one. After the first presentation, okay, so we start to do a physical model. This is we try to talking about the material and space. As you can see, we did two material. One is a vertical line, and the other one is a grid line, which is talking about the ichong lom. And we also create the planter and the space inside of the house as well. And here are some material that we would like to create, but in that time we don't know how to use what kind of material that we're going to use, but we want to use something like this. And the ichong lom we already have. We try to figure out which pattern is appropriate to the house, and we start to study about the sizing. We start to do opacity of the ichong lom because when you go to the first floor, it's very good view. So we start to make it more open on the top floor. And here is the front of the house. As you can see, there are some tree that's going up, and there are pattern which is talking about the structure. I don't mind to show the structure because I think it's some kind of the detail which is can relate and talk each other. And here are the space inside, which is we use the cement paint whole space, and we just show expose the ceiling without any cement ceiling. As you can see the air con and some kind of the electric line. But there are some connect between the visual. We use some solid railing, and some part we just change to the glass. So the dimension of the house is going to change, the experience going to change when you are there. And here are some pattern of the house wrapping to the wall, and there is a natural light go through the space, the internal stair. And here are some corridor, which is we didn't do the typical plan. We just switch the light. So I think it's gonna create some kind of more experience when you are in the house. And here are some climbing wall, which is people inside can see the owner of the house climbing when they go to the second floor and third floor and fourth floor. Here are some planter we put inside the house, which is we call dog put. And here are some the dramatic reflect light in the evening time. I think this picture took around 4:30. I think almost 6 p.m. Here is the backyard of the house, which is the father. He liked to do a garden, something like that. I think that's it. And this is the last picture that we our staff. Some of them are here. Some of them they do study abroad, and we have a meeting in the morning. Monday 9:30. I think without them without anonym thank you ครับ
Thank you so much, Kat P-Boy. I just love that there's a little dog in your team
okay good
image.
yeah my dog is
uh,
still sit here and try to make me confused get lost sometimes because my dog is here.
I see. Thank
Okay
you so much for sharing your experience and all of the work that you've done. I'm pretty sure the audience is intrigued and inspired as well.
thank you
Unfortunately for Gravity, we are going to have to move on.
okay.
But if the audience have any question, we will be taking all the questions and the comments later on during the panel discussion. So thank you so much, P-Boy. Next up, we have invited a Design Innovation Program alumnus, PFON, Miss Watanya Chanwitan. PFON is the co-founder of Bangkok Tokyo Architecture, and after graduating from SoA+D, she studied in Tokyo for her master's and proceeded to work in Switzerland and Japan. Please welcome Sawadee ka, PFON.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, hello. Yep, the floor is all yours.
So I just go ahead and share my slide now.
Yep.
Let me know if, okay, can you see it?
Yep, it's working.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Well, I think today, well, I've done a lot of past lectures which talks mostly about my work. So I think today is gonna be a bit different. I will focus less on perhaps the office works and more on the past experiences in school and professional experiences that have shaped me as an architect and as a designer. And I think this lecture was really a good chance for me to, it was first time I was going through old photos and looking at how I actually came to be what I am today, and then perhaps some clues on how on where we're headed as a firm as well. So thank you very much for the experience. I am gonna I named this lecture Here and There because it means, for me, it means being here and there and all around, and sometimes perhaps not being in one place and appreciating the fact that that I think it's just going with the flow and being all around and kind of embracing all the experiences and diversities of experiences that shape you as an architect. So that's why I call it Here and There. So just a little bit about me. In 2008, actually supposed to be 7 or 8, I'm not sure, but I graduated again, Bachelor of Interior Architecture from SoA+D. And then after that, I kind of moved to Japan to get my master's in architecture. And during the time, I worked part-time and trained at a couple of Japanese offices for a short period of time. After my graduation from Musashino Art University in 2011, I decided to take a 1-year leave from Japan just because I was kind of wanted to know what people were doing on the other side of the world. I submitted my portfolio to Switzerland and I got accepted to Harry Guger Studio in Basel, Switzerland. If those of you, some of you might not know him, but he's actually was one of the partners of Herzog Demeron, and he left the studio a couple of years back and established his own firm. And then after 1 year in Switzerland, I came back to Japan just because I started missing it. And I missed the pace, the high pace of Tokyo, and missing using my Japanese and all the stuff I learned in Japan, and moved back to Japan and then started my work at Tezuka Architects. Some of you might know him from previous lectures he's done in Thailand, and he's quite well known for housing design as well as school design and designing kindergartens, Fuji Kindergarten, to be more specific. And then after 3 years in Tezuka Architects, I moved back to Thailand with my partner, who is Japanese, and then we established the firm called Bangkok Tokyo Architecture. So we're year 4, year 5 in now, and currently I was also teaching in SoA+D, and currently I am a part-time lecturer at INDA in Chulalongkorn University. So that's what we're currently doing. So I'm teaching alongside managing the firm and also working as a full-time architect. So yeah, that's about me. So this is the first slide of the 3 points of where I think I am influenced from the most. Thailand, Japan, and Switzerland are the 3 places where I have gained my architectural education and professional training. So I think in the work that you will see later on, you will see a bit of influence from all of the 3 countries there. This image is from my bachelor's thesis project as an interior architectural student. It is not interior architecture design at all. I think I was lucky that the interior architecture program in our university is very open, and it sort of forces us to think in a more conceptual way, and it doesn't sort of constrain the students to design interiors only. So I was exploring like parks and designing sort of underground hills or something. It was very abstract, but I think that interest, that project sort of came from my interest in Japanese architecture. You know, in 3rd year and 4th year, I was introduced first time to Sana and Toyo Ito, and I was super duper, my mind was blown. So I was like, okay, I want to go to Japan to study architecture after this, but first of all, I want to do something that is perhaps maybe pushing the boundaries of interiors a bit for my thesis. And these are 2 renderings from my interior thesis, which is, I don't even want to call it interior anymore because it's just, there's also landscape and architecture, and I was making, all the structures were new. And it was really like exploring something that I didn't know much of because we didn't study structure so much, but I still wanted to do what I believe that at the time was important to me. And of course, I didn't get an A, I got a B or something, just because it was, the project was a bit too ambitious for my skills at the time. But looking back now, I think that actually kind of pushed me to explore things further than I could have done perhaps in another school. So that was what I really appreciated about the program at the time. So after graduating, I decided, as I said, I was super inspired by Toyo Ito's Serpentine Pavilion and Sana's Kanazawa Museum, that I said, I'm going to go to Japan. I want to go to Tokyo and study architecture in Japan. So being said that, I had to spend 1 whole year of studying language in Japan. So I took 1 year off just to study Japanese in a Japanese language school. And then, so every day I would go to school and study Japanese. And then at night I would start preparing to apply for my master's degree, which was writing an essay in Japanese and kind of preparing all the applications. And then luckily I got accepted to Musashino Art University. This was like 1 year after spending time studying Japanese every day. I got accepted into one of, I think, the most prestigious private art schools in Japan. It's rooted back from the 1920s, and then it has a lot of different, I think, histories and programs, both design and fine arts. So I was accepted here, and then I studied architecture here for 2 years. And again, being an art school, it was very open and abstract. And I appreciate the freedom and the sort of room to explore my own interests in the school. Here are some photos from my time at Musashino Art University. The one on the left is like 2 weeks before master's thesis submission, and the one on the right is just like an image from this international workshop we had with the Royal Danish Academy. And I think I wanted to show with these images that, you know, architecture studio culture is very universal, and everybody working together with their hands, with their brains, with computers, and talking, discussing, eating snacks, drinking coffee or Red Bull or whatever is something that is universal. It's not something that we just do here in Thailand, but it's something that I found that was a culture that was all over the world. And it was nice not to be able to not to feel like a foreigner, but feel like you're part of this architectural culture anywhere you are in the world. Here is another image of me 10 years back, and this was the workshop we had in Tokyo and Copenhagen. So then with the whole school, not the whole school, for some of us in the school, we went to Copenhagen at the Royal Danish Academy to do this workshop with students in Denmark. So that was a very interesting experience there. again, very multicultural and very open for discussions, and it was it's a lot of fun, basically. This is an image from my master's thesis. It wasn't a research project, it was a design project, but again, very abstract. And this thesis project actually got selected for the Excellence Award for graduating projects of the year. And then I got to exhibit in the big gallery of university, which I was super elated and very, very honored to be able to get the chance. And I called this project, I think, Simple Complex, and it explores kind of the possibilities of form and how people can interpret form or adapt forms in many different ways. So again, starting my bachelor's in interior architecture, now skipping to this super abstract, almost urban scale city, was something that I did in 3-4 years. So it was kind of a big jump. But again, I owe this all to the freedom that both schools gave me to explore my interests. So yeah, that was my master's thesis project and exhibition. So after my graduation from Musashino Art University, I decided, hey, let's take a year off from Japan and go somewhere to see what other people are doing. You know, what is architecture really? So I decided to move to Basel. And after I got accepted in Harry Guger Studio. And then Basel is a big city in Switzerland, but it's still small compared to Tokyo. And it's a city that is German speaking and connected to the French and German border. And there's this big river it's the Rhine River that runs through Basel. And every summer people would just go and barbecue and jump in the river and swim. And this image is one of the first photos I took when I arrived in Basel. And I was so happy to see, you know, this really kind of active connection between man and nature, and how the city is so connected to the river. And I actually had one of my colleagues in the office actually swam home. So after work, he would change into his swimming trunks, put all his clothes in a bag, and then float home down the river. And that was kind of really new to me at the time. Here is our office in Basel. It's in one of the second or third floors of the old building. So as you can see there, you have people working and some pinups on the board. Here are some more photos of the office. On the right side is actually a meeting room, and every evening at 4 p.m. we would have tea time, where the whole office would gather to have some cookies and tea and just sort of relax for about 10 minutes and then go back to work. So as an intern and then a junior architect, I was in charge sometimes for making tea and preparing all the cups and cookies for everybody there in the meeting room. Harry, or my boss at the time, he's also a professor and in architects. So being in education, he always taught us and took us to see architecture all around Europe. And we would take office trips a couple of times a year to see different buildings, and then meet the clients, meet the architects, and we get to explore and see all of the buildings. So that's a photo from one of the visits there to this house near Lausanne Lake. And here is another office visit to like one of the Sana buildings in the Vitra campus. And then you see Harry there, he's touching all the facades, and everybody was touching the facades. So it was a super interesting trip where we would all go and take photos and touch facades and materials. And that was a very interesting experience. And then after the trips, we would go and have lunch or dinner somewhere, and we would discuss what we saw. We would talk about architecture and drink and enjoy sort of each other's company while discussing and talking about architecture casually and both professionally. So that was how we sort of started, how architecture is discussed and spoken of. And then we would visit more buildings, studios, meet other professors, meet other architects. And so I took my time in Europe sort of to travel and see a lot of buildings. I think I saw more than maybe almost 100 buildings during 1 year there, maybe even more, and then went to see as much as I can and took a lot of photos. So, you know, being perhaps from a background of interior architecture, I was lacking maybe some of the things that other architects or other students already knew. So for me, architecture is a bit self-taught. I had to search, I had to go and take photos and find and climb mountains to see buildings and read. So I think, this kind of screenshot of some of the photos I had was, really a part of who I am today, is really searching, finding, and being proactive about my own education and my own knowledge and skills. So after 1 year in Switzerland, I decided to come back to Japan and I joined Tezuka Architects. This is a photo I took as a student, even before I joined his company, of visiting the Fuji kindergarten. So looking back now, it's like I didn't even know that I was going to join this firm, but I became a part of it. In Tezuka Architects, we make a lot of models. I mean, the whole culture there was hand sketching, hand drawings, hand details, and lots of models. And these are just maybe 1/10 of all the models we have in the office. Not all of them were presentation models. Some of them were like study models and mock-ups. So this is just a portion of it. So that's how I sort of got into the making by hand and learning by making culture in Japan there. The first project I ever did by myself in Japan was a very, very tiny project in the countryside. Being a foreigner, I wasn't really able to, I worked on a lot of international projects. And I really wanted to work on a project in Japan because I was in Japan. And Tezuka-san was kind enough to give me this tiny, tiny project. And it's actually a bicycle rental station in Himishi in Toyama. So it's right in the countryside. And what I designed, or we designed, was kind of a triangle-shaped station with one openable side, and all the fittings were also custom made. And when you would open up the renting station, you would have, like an openable shop. And when it's closed, you would have a kind of triangle lantern in the middle of nowhere, and that would also attract people from other places to come and look at the city and rent the bikes. So that was my first project, which also influences me now. Like, I enjoy working on small scale, medium scale, and working into detail of how things are made, how things are put together. And I think it's just a lot of fun to do architecture in different scales. Yeah. And then, so in 2017, I came back to Thailand with my partner Takahiro, and we've established a firm, Bangkok Tokyo Architecture, for lack of a better name. And we work on different types of projects, renovations, sometimes interiors, sometimes temporary projects. We also do houses and even volunteer projects, and even markets. So I'll show you just quickly 3 projects that we're kind of currently doing or just finished. This one is a studio for an illustrator. I think it was just published on Room Magazine yesterday or something. If you guys like it, you guys can go have a look at it a bit more. But basically, it's a renovation of an old family home or townhouse for an illustrator who wanted to convert the house into his studio. So what we did was essentially explode the entire house and make it a one-room space, and also make many voids in the house. So basically this part is an extension, and the void in the middle there is also new. So we've introduced gaps or voids or openings to create spaces instead of walls, right? So the plan becomes very open and very fluid, and which means the artist or the illustrator can be free to kind of arrange his own furniture or adapt the space to whatever he's working on at the moment. So sometimes he works on painting, sometimes he might do some silk screening or whatever. And the space is sort of designed to be a canvas for that, in a sense. So I think instead of designing every single detail or every single room, we kind of take a step back with our approach and allow the people to be creative and be part of the design process in this case. Some of the furnitures we designed, some of them not. Like this one is the one in the middle there is a canvas storage with with wheels. So that's what we designed. But some of the others are we just let the owners or the client just pick whatever they like, because I think it's a part of the design. I think we avoid trying to control every single thing, because we think that architecture cannot be and should not be controlled, and we allow for changes and fluidity and this generativeness to happen within our spaces. Here's a storage space. This steel roof top light is what we added to the core of the building, and then here is the kitchen and then the bathroom, which is outside. So, if you enter, this is the second floor, and if you enter into the space, you will feel that there is a sense of connectivity within the whole house, but also a sense of separation or privacy within each function. This is a market that we're currently working on in Chiang Mai. It should be finished within a month or two, and we wanted to explore the minimum thing we have to design to make a market. What do we need for a market? Okay, a roof, and pretty much that's it. So how do we kind of design just a single roof to create space, And for this roof, we kind of got inspired by Tong Ting, or one of the thatched roof leaves that they have in the northern part of Thailand, and we kind of built the entire structure to support this roof and also support the villagers as well who are making the roof. And then here is the kind of ginormous amount of leaves that we use for the roof stacked here. And then this is a structure. This is kind of before the roof, the thatch roof got laid on the structure. As you can see, at one point the structure is coming down very low, and that point is going to be a sitting and eating space or resting space for the market. So I think when the roof comes down to a level you can touch, it changes your relationship with the roof or with architecture. It becomes, in a way, landscape or something even like furniture. Here is the structure, and here is the process of laying all the leaves there. The workers are doing an excellent job. They're really neat, and they're kind of, they know more about the leaf roofs than even us, so we really trust them. And then this is kind of after all the leaves are being laid there, and you can see that some parts of the roof are coming really low with the lady there. And then the last project is a house K. This is a 1-20 model that we make. We make a lot of models in the studio just because I think we come from a generation where 3D wasn't really the thing. So but it was a thing, but it was something that we grew up with as much as the young kids from this generation. So making models was something for us to check and see our designs as well. So this is a 1-20 model that can actually be opened up, and you can see all the inside, the whole structure was made. And we update the model as the site is working. So it's not a presentation model, it's a working model. So it's the exact update of what the site looks like, or whatever the designs we change. So the design of the house is essentially like we wanted to use typical construction method, typical materials, typical structural ideas that we find in Thailand, but expose that and try to push that to the limit of what kind of generous and diverse spaces can be born of this typical structure. And as you can see, the structure is essentially like just a grid post and beam structure, and then we cantilevered them all around, and the cantilevers become buffer spaces for the indoors and outdoors. So which means balconies and perhaps inner gardens, and all of these spaces sort of connect the indoor to the city. So it's not about building a house and living there inside a little box. It's about extending the house and blurring the line between the house and the city by using structure. Here is an image of the construction site. These are very, very typical materials, very, very typical methods. And I mean, the workers there are doing a very good job. And here is an image of maybe 50% of the construction, but this house will also be finished, I think, in about 2 months. And I look forward to share the final images of the house with everybody once it's done. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Kap Pifon. It's very interesting to see all the projects that you've done, especially when you talked about building models, because I'm basically an outsider, right? Studying communication design. models for I've always thought, and maybe I think some of the architecture students would think that way as well. We think models are for presentational purpose only, but it's very interesting to learn that it's not just for presentations, but you're actually building something,
Right.
trying it out.
Right.
So thank you so much for your thoughtful sharing session.
Thank you.
I will
Yeah.
see you soon in the panel. All right. Now we have Mr. Narut Piti Songsawat, P. Dukdik, a design innovation alumnus, and he is running Flow Furniture. So Flow is a family business that was founded in 1994, and when it was time for P. Dukdik to take over, he rebranded the business into Flow. And Flow focuses on combining furnaces strengths. It focused on those strengths such as various materials and skills to mix them together, and also high quality and craftsmanship and services. But now with added design approach and suggested new opportunities, Flow has reached a new capability in the new markets. สวัสดีครับพี่ดุเต็ก the floor is all yours.
Okay, let me start the presentation. Okay, so my name is Narut. I'm a founder and design director of Flow Furniture, and let me talk a bit about my studies and experience. I graduated from industrial design program in 2013, and then a year after that, I used my thesis to start a brand called Flow Furniture in Thailand International Furniture Fair. And then after I started business for a year, I take a short course to France to study about cabinet making, which is woodworking in France. And then I come back, and then I work for 2 more years. And then I skip a year. A business still running, but I went to Switzerland in ICAO. I studied design for luxury and craftsmanship. And then I come back and working until like 2019. I study a master degree in business management at Mahidol University, which is I just graduated last year, so I'm newly graduated from the school, and I kind of like bouncing between study and working. If I don't know anything, I go to study and then I come back. It's also a kind of like a refresh for me as well. I will divide my session into 4 parts. The first will be about my university life. I will show you about my my work in the university and also what I've done in university. The second part will be how I translate those skills and those knowledge from the university into a career, into work, a real work life in part 2. And then the third part will be about how I gathered more knowledge, because to study only design is not enough in the real world, and it needs a lot more knowledge in order to survive and to do a good job. And then I will tell you about the current situation of Flow. So I'll start from the first part. When I was in Mathayom 6 in high school, I have to decide between management or design, because my family already have a business. My parents working on a furniture factory, which is already about like 20 years when I was Mathayom 6, and they kind of urged me to study management so I can graduate and help them later on. But I found that at that time I'm more interested in art and design, so I actually choose architecture or industrial design, which is good, which is a nice choice as well. Here are some of my work from the school. You can see that this is the first year in a design school. We studied design fundamental, which more like an exercise for thought, which is really fun. I get to learn that you can think in multiple ways, but you need to show the process of thinking. You get the chance to draw on a huge paper and shows what you think, and it's kind of breaking off the old mindset I get from high school and it's kind of like entered to another dimension of thinking, which is really fun. This is my first industrial design work from school. It's a cloth hanger. and it's made from wood. And it's pretty fun because we start from the research, what kind of cloth hanger we want to do, and we sketching, and we make mock-up by our hands. We make a wood. I went to buy a wood at the store and then come back to school and cut it all by myself, and it kind of like leaves a really good impression for me with working with wood. Since that time, I still keep the cloth hanger in my office as well. When I was in the school, we have a lot of chance to visit so many factories, which is very great. So because we can see the vibe, see the atmosphere of the real factory, how it's working, and how each company working on each different material. So I get a chance to see like furniture factory, ceramic factory, glass factories, and fabric factories. And it's kind of like a really fascinating experience to see. And in my third year, I guess we actually in industrial design doesn't have really much many courses of furniture, maybe 2. So if there any award or activity or camp, I try to attend. This is a work from American Hardwood Design Camp. I went with my 2-3 friends, and we do a furniture and prototypes, and we exhibited in Thailand International Furniture Fair. So this is my first one of the first furniture I designed. I also enjoyed working on graphics design. This is a work from my graphics class, which is really fun. And this one is the only furniture design class in my program. I did a whole landscape furniture with my friends, which is I think it's still there in the faculty in Bangkok. This one I designed with is my team. They are having fun on furniture. It is good, a good experience because we get to see how people use our furniture, and we kind of like explore the boundary of furniture, not only a chair or a table, but expand into more like landscape furniture. I also take a lot of elective like photography class, and it's really fun. And this is another furniture class in Industrial Design 6. I was in 4th year already, and it's really tiring. And each furniture I made, I feel that I cannot do good enough. I feel sorry for the wood that it has to die to be a furniture that I designed. So it kind of like carry. I get the kind of like thinking that I have to do it better. I have to learn more in order to do a better furniture from that time, and it's really tired subject at that time. And this one is another advanced photography class, which is an elective. Actually, this one is ComDes subject. It's not an industrial design subject, but I really interesting. So I tried. So the Ajahn Matt teach studio photography and film photography. It's pretty fun at that time. And each year from 3rd year onwards, there will be design trip to European area, because we have foreigner teacher, right? And they will have like organized a short trip to like German, to Netherlands, to Italy, and I try to participate every year because it's really interesting, and the trip that Ajahn organized is really interesting because we get to stand to see a lot of architectures, a lot of museum, and we can see the real thing, the real piece of furniture, because normally we see the furniture inside of like a slide or a photo in a book, and we don't really feel how it looks in real life in 3-dimensional, and also how is it comfortable, how it's made, or what does the feeling of the furniture that gives. So yeah, we have a lot of fun at that time. And this one, we take a trip to Italy, to the biggest furniture fair in the world, the Milan Fair. And this one is like changing my perspective so much, because I get to see the piece of furniture that I like, and also see the whole furniture community of the world, to see each country works, to see different different designers from around the world coming to the same place and show their work. It's really inspiring and really challenging for me. And I get a chance to meet my hero as well. He just like the guy next to me is a designer called his name is Thonburi. He is a French designer, and I admire him a lot. And I just met him by chance in his booth, and it's very fun and it's very inspiring. I also did a lot of activity in a school as well. I participate the music festival every year. And another thing that I get from the university is that the habit of reading books, because in industrial design we don't have the textbooks that much on industrial design, and mostly we do it, we're learning by doing or learning by lecture from a chance. So if I want to make a better design or a better research, I need to read a lot. So I adopt, I get this kind of habits of reading books from that time on, from the first year, and then I start from there, and it's never stopped. Now I get more obsessed on books, and I think it's really changed my life to read, and because it's opened my mind, it's opened my thought, and it's get a lot of materials from other person. It really helps into my design. So from 2008 to 2012, I learned a lot, and I tried a lot in so many sort of subjects, because basically in the beginning I didn't like furniture at that time, but I love graphics, I love like photography, so I tried everything, but in the end I found that the one that I love the most is furniture. And the time that I realized that I like furniture the most is the final year of the studies, which is the thesis year. We have the whole year for thesis, and those thesis I just focusing on trying to find a new opportunity for my parents' company called Furnace Industry. And the thesis divided into two parts. The first part is business model, and the second part is design. So the business model, I try to understand what's going on in the factory. I went into the factory. I talked to the workers. I talked to my parents about history of the company. I researched on the whole big picture of the furniture industry. I went to see competitors in the market. I interviewed the users, and I try to understand myself as well in terms of furniture design. So at that time, it's kind of like create a foundation, a really rigid foundation, because I get the time to do a lot of research, do a lot of talking and consulting with my teacher. So this foundation is still standing strong right now. So this is the presentation area of my work. The work that I did is kind of like a simple desk, because this research found that at that time cafe culture is starting to happen. The third place, the co-working space starting to happen 10 years ago, and we have to we have working from home trend since then, and it kind of like exploded since COVID time. So the brand is focusing on home working station, home office. So this is sketched in 2013. I designed a table that has a mixing between steel and wood, because my factory has steel and wood, so I try to mix the components together. And I do lots of sketching in design details development, and also a mock-up to understand the materials in real life, and also one-to-one prototypes. And I found that furniture is not only about sketching or 3D rendering, it's also more about how you put your hands on the model and to understand it really in 3-dimensional. And at the end, the thesis is this kind of simple table, which is metal that joined everything together, and metal is also a character of the table as well, and it can be exploded into different types of variations. And this is me and my work. And after that, just graduate, I continue working with my parents immediately in furnace industry. Most of my work at that time is like graphic design and photography, and I do a brochure for my parents. I went to sales furniture with my parents, and along the way, I try to develop my own work as well with my friends. Gong, now he has his own brand already. At that time, I keep the concept from thesis and try to develop more into a brand. I think the name Flow came at this time, and we try to create a whole piece of collection, a whole piece of furniture, not only just the one design. So we experiment a lot with materials, we learn a lot because we have to learn by doing, because we never work with steel this much before. So we need to learn from the workers and from the client. And this is all of the mock-ups pictures. So we launched Flow for the first time in 2014. And the piece that I launched is this one. It's actually the mock-up from the thesis, but I didn't choose for thesis, but it's better for the manufacturing, so I choose this one. It's a mixture between steel and wood, and it's kind of really simple, but still have some accent to the piece. It can be disassembled in order to export. And we designed a chair. The white and the black part of the furniture is a steel, and we combine it with wood to show how precise the metal worker and the woodworker can work together in order to create this type of specific types of joinery. And we expand into several types of furniture. And a year after that, I have a showroom in Narathiwat 26 in Rama 3 area, where we have a lot more furniture. And then I also have a chance to export to Japan and United States, and also Korea and Taiwan as well. This is a shop in Hong Kong. But before I go further, I would like to talk about a little bit more about my education abroad. In 2015, I get intern from France. And then I asked him, can I go study with you in France? So he said, yes, just come. So I went there for 2 months to study cabinet making in Saint-Quentin in France. It was a really great time that I'll have to get a chance to learn to working with wood with my hands and the projects that I like to do. And it is a good 2 months that changed my life, because in weekdays I would work at a workshop, and the weekend I would go to the museum. I went into Paris and to see museums and to see art, to appreciate the whole city. And I live with the family as well. And then in 2017 I went for a study in design for luxury and craftsmanship in Eckhau, Switzerland, in Lausanne. And it is really great time, because I interested in this course because it's just a 1-year course, and it is a course that allowed you to visit so many factories, so many heritage Swiss European factories which operate for like 100 years, and they are all luxury brand. So I really want to know how those brands create that much value, or how can they survive a crisis in a lot of time and they come back and stand strong. So it's a great chance to visit like a factory, a watch factory, a glasses factory. So it was a great time, and I also get to do a lot of work with them as well. So the class is very mixed. We have people from around the world, like from Asia, from European, from America. So it's kind of like really good cultural exchanging and learning from each other as well. And it's very fun. And at that time, I also have a self trip, because they will have like a short week every month that allow students to go here and there. So I decided to went to many places. This is one of them. It's PP Mobler furniture workshop in Denmark, because this is a workshop that produced my favorite designer piece, Hans Wegner piece. And I went there, and it's very fun. There has Thai people working there as well. And I have a chat with the third generation of the company, and I found it's really inspiring at that time. And I just graduated from business management in 2019. I start in 2010, and because I found that design knowledge is not enough for me in order to run the business. So I decided to study business management, and I found that it's really useful, and it helped me getting through this crisis in COVID time. We're still in crisis, but it kind of like making me really able to survive this moment. So after I show you of my work and all my study, I'll show you also my current situation of the brand. After I went to study woodworking in design for luxury and also business management, my work changed a lot. I'm getting deeper knowledge about wood, how to working with wood. So the work after I studied in woodworking is like changing dramatically and more complex, deeper in details, and try to like expand into several types. But the whole products of Flow is still standing on the research, the foundation that I start at the school, and the photography, the graphics design is also by myself. It's also all the skills that I learned from the school, which is really useful in real life. We have like grow from 10 pieces of design to 200 pieces, and we have spread off the like tables, chairs, sofa, bed, a lot of stuff, but all of them are still in the same concept of mixing materials, focusing on details, and focusing on like urban living. We start in 2014. Now we have like bigger booth already. We have a lot more products. I participate like Basel fair every time, and also architecture fair or international fair as well. This is our first showroom in Narathiwat, and then we moved to Ekamai in 2018, and now we have our flagship store in Sukhumvit 36, which is now in renovation at the front, and we open maybe in April will be a larger space. Okay, from all of that, I'll show you some of my clients that use my furniture, so you get a chance to see how it used in real life. My clients will divide it into 3 categories. The first is residents, so they use for their homes, the house, the condominiums. This kind of like wood and steel combination can be changed the color in order to adapt into the interior design. My client like to mix my furniture with IKEA and Muji and Hey, so this kind of a style get along quite well. Some of my design for like SMEs like boutique hotel, this design is kind of modular, so it can change into 1 seat, 3 seats, so it fits of the interior different types of identity. This is Wong Nai office in Thongburi before they moved to 101 to digital. So my design also fit like offices because it has been designed since the beginning that it can be customized, the size, the colors, and my work suitable for meeting rooms, meeting areas in the office. This is a co-working space, just from Samyan Midtown, and the design can be changed, adapt into their own characteristic of colors and form as well. And this is latest work for Minor International. They use my furniture in cafeteria area for their employee, and also some of their shop as well. I also have clients from like cafe all around Thailand, like this is Dioro, and lots of cafe at this time. I try to I supplied to, and just going fast, skip the pictures. Okay, this is some of my clients. So you can see that it's kind of like separate between like co-working space, office, home, residential. I also do some of experiment as well. This is a wood collection that designs to be a sculpture in 100 Tonson gallery. I exhibit with Ajahn Dusadi Hantakul, which is a painter, a ceramics maker as well. And this is another work showing in the Bangkok University Gallery, which is more like experimental with the woodworking and how I expand furniture skills into art. I also organize a lot of furniture exhibition as my showroom as well. And it get more interesting from press. You can listen to podcasts, lots of podcasts. And for more info, you can visit the Facebook. We have a Flow Furniture, Instagram, and website as well, and also my own website, narupati.com. So to summarize, my university life is about trial and error, to make mistakes, to try to learn new skills. And the second part is about commit on one thing and then keep going on that way and finding what we lack on. And if I know what I lack, I fill the gap, I try to study more. And the current situation is about improving, try to continuously improve everything that I do. So that's it.
Thank you so much. It's very inspiring to know that you are still exploring, you keep exploring, and being I think it's a very good lesson for a lot of people that being a lifelong learner, staying passionate in what you do is very important. On a different note, though, yes, the chair that you guys did
Mhm.
is still there
Still
at
there.
SoA+D. Yep, yep. I
That's
just
great.
saw it yesterday.
Okay.
It's in the open orange space now.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Pete Duk
Thank you
Dik.
so much, Pongpat.
Yep, I will see you soon, Kap. All right. Well, last but not least, we have invited a communication design alumnus, Pimin, Miss Lilanan Nonakiat. She is the founder of April Pool Day. And April Pool Day, the main concept for April Pool Day is that it must be uniquely April Pool Day and is designed for the real world. And Sawadee Kap. And I'm not kidding. I was looking through the website. I was looking at the products, and like most of them, not probably, I definitely cannot even wear them. But they're so cute that I felt like I have to get it. So thank you so much for being here with us. The stage is all yours. Hap.
โอเคค่ะ let me get started. So at first I want to say that I'm so impressed by all of those three alumni that spoke before me. Like their works are so impressive, and like mine is actually after I listened to them, I kind of realized that we kind of share some of the same experience. We share something in common, but I'll talk about it later. So yeah, I will start from my education background. So I study bachelor degree at communication design at SoA+D, and then I continue my master degree. The course name is Apply Imagination in the Creative Industry at Central St. Martins. But I take a year after I graduate my bachelor degree and work at Central World, and then after that I continue my master degree. So for my work experience, as I said, after I graduated from SoA+D, and then I start working a year in a production team at Central World, and then I went to study my master degree for like 1 or 2 years, and then I came back and I work as a creative designer at Embassy Design Studio, and then that's it. My full-time job already ended. I realized since I took an internship at the advertising agency that I don't really like working kind of with the commercial clients. Back then, I work as a graphic designer, like with those big company like Thai Airway and Downey and stuff. And I enjoy the working atmosphere, but I don't really like working for clients. So when I came back, and also at Central, I don't really like it. I like the atmosphere, but not really the work. And then, so I give myself another chance to work as a creative because I think it might be more fun, but somehow I still feel like something is not right. So I decided to quit. But before I quit, I okay, let's get back a little bit. So while I study my master's degree at Central St. Martins, I kind of feel inspired and I explore a lot and I start working. I've been drawing since I was young, but I don't know if I can do it as my career or not. But I start drawing because I felt so inspired and I use it as a tool for my communication in that time. So when after I came back, I still don't know what I like to do. So I start working as a creative as a full-time job, and at the same time I still continue my illustration works as a freelance. So I work at nighttime, and also at the same time I start April Pool Day, which it's just a side job. I feel like I started with my friends and I feel like, oh, let's do it, it sounds fun. And back then there's kind of no swimsuit that we are looking for, and it's swimsuit and travel is a part of our lifestyle. But before I quit my full-time job, I also, of course, feel insecure. So I applied for the teaching job because both of my parents are professor at Thammasat University. So I applied for the job, and I think, maybe teach 1 day a week would be great. And like my parents also encourage and want me to try because they are both professors. So I tried to apply for the job at Design Management School, and since then until now, I'm still teaching there. So same as April Pool Day. I started all at the same time, and then I decided to quit my full-time job and work as illustrator, teaching, and doing April Pool Day. And then after that, I feel like these three I am so obsessed with April Fool Day, so I give less and less time for other things. And at the end, I decided to quit my illustrator job because I realized that maybe I keep it as a side job or a hobby. It's like more fun that way. I don't like working with clients. So it might sound fun, but actually it's not that easy because I quit my job and I still don't know what I like to do. Like my passion is everywhere. It's pretty clear that I like doing art, I like consuming art, I like design, I like culture, I like travel, movie, water activities. I love aesthetics, and that's why I have my own aesthetics. I have my own style that I feel not against, but I'm not good at working when clients ask for other styles. So it's a kind of random and everywhere, and I don't know how these things can make it work for my career path. I have no idea. So as I said, while I was working as illustrators, so here's a bit of my work. I see it as a tool to communicate my idea and my concept. So some of them I have no clients. I work and I did the exhibition. This one was in London. And some I have clients, like this one. I work for the SMEC. Perspective was back then a free magazine by SMEC, the famous refrigerator. So I did the cover for them. I also enjoyed drawing and doing things, but so the process is like all of them will be like hand sketched, and then I scan them into computer and I painted it in a program. And like snack magazines that ran by what was it? Cheese. And also worked with some of the big clients like King Power because they wanted to do it, just rebrand, I think. And then back then they wanted to do like line stickers, and it was about footballs and stuff. And maybe this one was launched in summer, so it's about activities. But actually the real one was animated, and I worked with one of my friends from SoA+D as well, so he helped me animated them. Here's the second phase. Yeah, so just a rough idea. This is for the exhibition also in London. Okay, back to the slides. So I think I'll cut to the chase, which Song asked me like, how do I apply all my work to my all of the things that I study at university to my work. So, and then I look back and I process with my thoughts, and I think this is the things that important that I get from university. I use it with everything, not just for my work, it's for my life and like for everything. So we pay a lot of attention to process, right? We did a lot of experiments while we were at school along the process, and we leave the end result open. Like when I also work in the company, like some company will make a shortcut for course, like they look at the reference and then, okay, we're gonna do as a reference, but we're gonna change the material and the color. And I don't like working that way. It's not fun, but maybe it suits more for the real world that everything is so rushed. And then because of this process, we make kind of learning by doing. And I found that felt is fine. I mean, we made a lot of mistake, but we learn from it. And by this process, we become creative and we become so tough because they gave us a lot of work. Like at first we might thought that, oh, it's too much, but at the end we become like more and more tough. So I have to say that these days I'm very hardworking, and I feel like, yeah, I can work 24 hours. I don't feel any tired, I have to say. But when I teach at university, maybe like sometimes when I give them too much work, they would say, oh, this is too much. It's like beyond my skills and stuff. But actually you have to extend your skills. You have to do more than what you think you can do, and then you become like more and more tough. And of course about the communication. But back then, as we know, like what we study is like very conceptual, and I have to say it's kind of intangible. So I don't really know how to make it use for like real life career at the beginning. And we do a lot of self exploration to discover who you really are, like what your uniqueness or what do you really like. So that's kind of the important part that I figure out about myself. And when I listen to all the speakers, I just made this up because I heard like kind of the same words, that conceptual details, interpretation, hand-done, and materials. And I think, yeah, it's everyone has something in common. So you all mentioned about these words, and that's what we learned from our university. So I'll use one of maybe my collection as a case study at April Fool Day to see how I apply this into my working process. Let's talk a little bit about April Fool Day. So April Fool Day is a swimwear brand, as everyone know, mostly maybe girls, and we become well known by our like standout photo shoot or photography. So I will show you some. So this is our photo shoot, which was in 2015, and this one was in London. I think this one is from Berlin. And this one is in Morocco, but by Korean photographer. This one is in Thailand, but she's a Korean artist. This one back again in London. This one in Israel. This one is in Thailand. This one is in Korea. This one in France. Yeah, so we have like kind of standout photograph and concept, I think, which kind of different from any other swimwear brands. Okay, just for you to get some of the idea. And as I said, like back then, everything is all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how can I make this career? I just feel like I want to do swimwear, and I feel like I want to like make everything into just one piece, like my lifestyle, what I like, my aesthetics, but I have no idea if it can become a brand or it can be a career or not. I have no idea. I just feel like I wanted to do it. But this is this summary after I've been doing this for 9 years. If it's for swimsuit, what we have to consider is the aesthetics, the function, and customer needs. So for aesthetics, actually of course, I quit my job because of this. So it's a space that we can explore our own self, our own aesthetics. I mean, it's not just for me, but it's also for my team as well. I also work with my friend's named Izzy, and we study communication design together. And she also has a very unique style as well. And for the function, because we also use swimsuit in many other activities, we don't wear it and just take photo and that's it. But we love doing activities like water activities, so it has to be functional. So every time we finish the design, we have to test it with swimming as well. And also we have to consider customer needs, not just like our own needs. If you talk a lot to the customer, you'll know what their needs and what their concerns, and we can apply that into the design as well. So starting from concept, this is the previous collection, which I think you will see how I apply it to the process of making it. We start from the concept first. The first stage is concept. And I think the starting point is that Izzy found like very nice material that we think we can make swimsuit. We don't want to go with the solid one because we have been making a lot of them already. And then we went to Korea and we found like one of the fabric that we think is very interesting with the texture, with the pattern. So she got the idea from that. And then she said, yeah, well, it reminds me of this movie named Clueless from 1995. And then I have to go back and look at the movies. And when she said that I have to look at the movies, it doesn't mean that you have to look at the specific clothes that they wear, but it's about everything. So it's kind of abstract and conceptual at the beginning. I have to see the movie and talk to her like what kind of what you found interesting from the movie, not just the specific clothes. And clothes here is not even the swimsuit, right? And then we said, we talked, and then we said, okay, style back then they call it preppy style, and this kind of style called plate set. And then she started doing the sketch. we decided to make one of the two piece and one of the one piece for design and one two piece, which we don't know yet how it's gonna be like. So we keep it open at first. So this is the two piece one. So the two piece one, at first we were thinking about, should it match with the waistband with cherry pattern or with the heart? We left it open. And for the second one, after Izzy came up with the idea and then we talked. And for me personally, when I look at it, I mean, with the color one, I feel like it's too much. So we didn't go for that one. We have to show some before we make the prototype. And then the one that I have this on, I feel like it's too girly. And on the right one, it's kind of, we see a lot of copy product from China. So we felt like, we shouldn't go with it. But the one that Izzy liked the most is the one with the white straps and with the flower on, which it's not really my style. So it means that we don't really have to share the same style, but we just have to talk about it and working on it. Why it works, why it's not. And this is her sketch, which look a bit messy. So I make it more well organized for you to understand. So for the two pieces design, we decided to go with this one, but not much in detail. So we talk about, should it be like high waist jumper or should it be low waist? And should it be a raglan? Raglan is the one that with this line, it's the pattern, or it should be just normal like this one. Which one will be suitable more for swimming? We are not sure yet. Because this is kind of new. It doesn't really look like swimsuit at all, right? And we are not even sure yet if it's like suitable for swimming or not. But we have to try when we test the prototype. And shall we have the screen on the top or shouldn't be? Do we have to wear the bra inside or like the jumper is just enough? Or if we have bra, do we need like a screen on top? Will it look better or not? So that's what we discussed at the first stage when it was still a sketch. And for one piece, so that one, the left one is the one that Izzy likes with the white binding. But that one, as I said, is not my style. But yeah, if she wants to try with the prototype, it's okay. And the second one is like safer choice for customers. I think this one is kind of easy to understand. And the third one is also still the long sleeve, but with the collar. And we are not sure yet which length for the sleeve will be better, like long one or like just this one is okay. And then after we have this one, we start making the prototype. So prototype stage one, it's always fail for sure, but we'll start from S size because I am S size, so I can try on and I can give comment an idea or get some idea of how it's going to be like for the next step. But it's never been easy because what we want to do is something new. We use new fabric and the elasticity is different, and it's also new design and working with new fabric. Not sure if it's gonna good with the function or not, and also new pattern as well. So it must be fail for sure. And standard size for April Fool Day, S size is pretty small because one of the pain points when I started the brand is that I couldn't find any swimsuit. It's way too big, but I'm like kind of tiny. So we agreed to make it a little bit small, but the fabric needs to be stretchy enough to go to the regular S size. Then we start making the first prototype. I couldn't find photo of myself of the first prototype. But yeah, when we start making the prototype, we have to test with many people. Actually, we test with a lot, but okay, I take three of them as a case study. So Kana also S size, and she's one of my friends. She's Japanese. She's pretty small, but her condition is that she has long torso. So when we do one piece, we have to see if it's like stretchy enough. Does she feel uncomfortable? And she has long torso and also like wide shoulder. And then we get feedback from her. She felt, this one is quite comfortable, but like the sleeve is too big. The pattern maker, at the beginning, they still don't know how to work with this fabric. So they make it bigger. And then for the next prototype, they will make it smaller. And then we also let the staff, which usually a regular M size, to try on as well to see if it fits. If it is, then maybe we can use it to develop the M size pattern. This is the first design. And then the second one. So the second one with the collar, actually, I like this one the most out of 3 designs. And it fits well with like the other 2s and many other people. And the third one, I like it, not sure if it works or not, but anyway, at the end we have to choose one. So when they make it, it's too big. So we think, oh, so if we make it smaller, it might look nicer or something. And at the end, we decided to go with the left or the right one because most of them choose this one. As I said, for me, I prefer the color one, but this, if it's just me, if it's just my, my choice, maybe it wouldn't work. So we decided to go with that one, but we decided to keep these two for later because there's still like a potential that we can work with it. But maybe with not this fabric and with not with this collection. And also the comment that they gave is that they like the design. They feel like it makes their body look slimmer and they feel comfortable more without collar. Yeah, it makes them look skinnier or something. So yeah, we go with that one. And for two-piece, we started, I also couldn't find like very first photo when we started the prototype. We didn't really, take photo, I think. But yeah, after we have the first prototype, then we have the idea of like how to change it. Should we make like it more up or should we make it more down? Should it be at the waist or should it be lower than that? And then we adjust it. I think this is already fourth prototype. And everything also, because it's swimsuit, everything needs to be customized into the materials that suitable for swimsuit, or even the collar or waistband. It has to be dry fast and it has to be elastic enough for them to not feel uncomfortable when they do activities. And after we all agree on the first prototype and the design, we will start making the M and L size accordingly to the comments. I also have to try on the M size to see if how it looks like when S size people wearing M size, and then M size, and then many other M size. This is like the process of doing the M and L size grading. So the aesthetic part is actually already kind of done, 90% done when we see the first and when we finalize the design. But when it comes to size grading, it's more about customer needs. So how do they feel? They feel uncomfortable or they feel comfortable? Does it make them look better when they wear a swimsuit? Swimsuit is maybe more difficult than any other clothes because you can see clearly how it looks like when people wear it. And like size grading is not just about enter shape and make it bigger, because I mean they have larger proportion, but most of the Asian girls, they are not that tall, so maybe you have to enlarge this size but not this one. We have to check again in details. And after everything is finalized, and then we have to do all the costs and productions, how much it's gonna be, how much is the cost, and how we gonna do the production. It depends on the details of the swimsuit as well. Some factories are good at doing this, some are not, because our swimsuit has like loads of details. It's not like that easy, so we have to pick the right factory to make it. They have to be good at that style as well. And then so I skipped that part because it's not really related to design, but I have to do it anyway before we start selling. And then we'll see it again in the photo shoot at the preparation stage. So at first, we don't have idea yet how the photo shoot, how the mood and tone is going to be like, but we do the casting first. So we call model for the casting. And this is one of them, one of the models. So maybe we call like 10 or more models to come for the fitting. And when we do the fitting on the day, we'll see their character, we'll talk to them and see if she kind of match with the collection and with our attitude. And when this girl came, we feel kind of inspired by her because she reminds me of one of the Japanese comic, which is very old, maybe back then when I was in high school. The name is Nana. But this model is only like 24, and so I don't think she knows these comics. But when I talk to her, she does, and she felt like this is her favorite comics. Like she really likes Japan, and she really likes reading Japanese comics. So we are on the same page. After doing all the casting, we decided, okay, then let's do a rock band. As I said, so we don't have the idea from the beginning how the photo shoot will be like, but we feel inspired and experiment along the way and let the process take us to. So this is the concept that we came up with. So it's a girl group on tour, and like they're a new band, so ก็มีความจนๆ not that rich, but April Pudding has to be energetic, has to be a bit weird and cool and not like so static. We don't like it that way. So we made some reference of the bands from that era that we like, and we collect all the music instruments and think about how the photo shoot will be like, the vibes and everything. So now we already have the main singer, right? She will be the one that represent the mood and tone of the collections. She's the main singer. But to perform a band, we also need maybe at least 2 more models. And yeah, we did a lot of casting. And then here is the model that we decided to go with at the end. So the left girl, she's kind of represent, I think Thai people will like her. So that's why I choose her, because she's kind of sweet and easy to understand. People can feel related to her. And the right one is also kind of the indie girl, which kind of balance the weight between the main singer and that girl. Then we look up for the instrument from that era, but luckily, like my boyfriend also a musician, so she can help with that. And before the shoot, so maybe I go back a little bit. This day we work a lot on Miro boards, which it's a place where you can throw ideas. We have to work on the budget, on the schedule and everything, and choose who's going to be the photographer, and we'll choose depend on if they match with this style of the collection and photo shoot or not. We do the schedule, how it's going to be like, and then we go and scout the place and make the timeline. The lighting is very important, so we have to see which location is good with the lighting. It's pretty slow, so maybe I just switch back to the presentation. And before the day, after we have everything all settled, the budget, models, mood and tones, everything has to be done in details. We have a meeting with the team, like around 15 people. And then, yeah, we do the fitting, which, how it's going to be like, how to do the mix and match, how the theme's going to be. And then put it with the models. And these are other models that we did the casting. But like, I mean, they're all nice because they're models, right? But maybe they don't really, the character and stuff, they don't really suit with the collection, so we are not going with them. And here is what happened on the day. I show you some of the behind the scene first. So what happened on the day, like we start the day since morning, like 5 in the morning, and then we have to finish it by the end of the day, because we want our last scene is to catch the sunset. And this one happened at the cafe near Pattaya, I think. So we rent the place, but because it's a cafe, so they are not allow us to have music on. So I have to ask my staff to entertain the models by using their bodies, but not with the sounds. Usually, like, we can enhance the mood and tone with the music, but this one we cannot. And this is how it looks like for the backstage. And we only have maybe less than 5 minutes before the sun like went down, so it's a bit stressful and exciting. And here's how the end result is like.
Walk me home, let me live my life on home. Crossroads, where we at? You go right, I take left. Brain full of holes.
the process of working with all this is that I collect all the material first, and then I see what's the potential that I can play with them. I have photograph, and I also have like videos, and then so all of these communications I'll do it myself because I like doing it. But Izzy will be responsible for the beginning of the design, and then we work together. But for the communication, this one I'll do it all myself with the help with my assistant. But it's difficult to explain to other people how to work on it. So I think I prefer to do it by myself. There are a lot more because the photo shoot was all day, and that one was just from the last scene. And in terms of communication, I have to communicate a lot with like many people, right? So I use it with the branding, I use it with the collections, I use it with the design. I think swimsuit is also one of the tools that I use for communication, our idea, our concept, and who we are. But we also have to communicate within the team, with suppliers, partners, customers, distributors, but they're all like different ways of communication. Somehow at the end, because we started very conceptual, and not everyone's gonna understand what we are doing, so we have to write down the statement. And so after we, maybe same as everyone, so we learning by doing, we keep working, we do it first. I don't really come up with this at first, but I do this maybe just last week after I've been running the brand for 9 years, just to make everyone be clear on the same page what we are doing, what's the goal for April Pool Day. So April Pool Day is designed for one-of-a-kind holiday. So here we put a lot of love into designing one-of-a-kind swimwear, so people can have one-of-a-kind holiday that not like anyone else. And what makes a holiday one-of-a-kind? So it's more about finding a new exotic destination or finding new friends to go with, but it's about allowing yourself to have a new experience, being open to try new things on the journey, or doing all things in a new way. It's about leaving the parts of the trip unplanned to leave room for moments of magic. That's what makes a holiday one of a kind. So pack your bag and bring a pair of April Pool Day or 5 and give yourself a holiday like no other. So this is kind of to make my teams and also my people I work with and also my customer to be on the same page, to be more clear. Yeah, a lot of experiment with everything, with the concept, with the swimsuit design, with the communication materials. And also this one. So you ask, what do I have to do rather than design? Same as everyone, design is just a part of it, but it's the thing that it's the core of my brand to run this April Pool Day. So we have passionate for design for sure, but we also have to do management, marketing, human resource, production, and accounting. And there's no choice. I have to do it. But now I didn't expect myself to come this far. I really hate Excel like a couple of years ago, but now I'm so good at it. I can do like tons of Excels, and I enjoy it by like putting different colors in Excels, but I also know how to use it to calculate price, cost, and value and stuff. I have to coach all the staff, and I have to do the cost management. I really hate mathematics, but in the end, you have to do it. And also doing a lot of planning. So this you have to do, otherwise you cannot run a brand as a business. Design cannot be just the only thing that can run the brand, because you have your fixed costs and you have to pay all your employees. So yes, no any other choice. But yeah, you have to do it. So that's all from me. I think it's right on time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I really love the everything you do there. I love the patterns that you have. I love the branding. It feels like, especially the photo shoot that you were doing, it feels very Eurovision, Europop moment going on, and I was just living. Um, so thank you so much for sharing. And I'm pretty sure the audience can learn a lot from your designing process as well, and like what you go through uh, running this business. All right. So thank you so much, Kap. I will see you soon in the panel. All right. So next up, we have, well, we have a little more we're gonna hear more from all of these alumni in a bit, and for that, we hope you have all the questions in your mind. Please don't be afraid to share them with us in YouTube live chat and Facebook comments as well, and we will be taking those comments and we'll be asking the alumni for them as well. And of course, we have a fair share of questions prepared for our panelists. But we will be reading the comments. We will be reading everyone's comment, and we will be put them in as time allows. So we're going to take a little short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Alright สวัสดีครับพี่ๆทุกคน
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ how has your morning been?
sleepy.
Very honest. All right. This section I hope is going to be a little bit more relaxed, more like a conversation between all of us than a Q&A session. Well, I hope. I think this could be a nice chance to bounce off of each other about ideas and experience as well. So, all right, we will be collecting the questions from the audience, but for now, I think the question I have for you is a little focused towards your journey towards this entrepreneurship that you've attained now. So, like, how long did it take you to understand that you want to start a business, you want to be an entrepreneur in the design field, and what kind of extra skills that do you have to apply? Like I think P. Duktik and P. Min talked about it, but I want to hear from everyone as well. Yeah.
Okay, Phone first or me first?
No, people, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's a very good question because actually I didn't think about I'm gonna open my own studio until I worked almost 13 years, and then I woke up and suddenly I don't want to go to work other people. I think that's it. I didn't have a plan. I don't have any plan to open my studio until I just woke up, and then I just realized, and I asked my partner Pipan, and then why don't we just do our own studio? And actually we just want to work really chill, just want to work as a freelance. And then something came up very fast, and then right now it's 6 years already. I think that's it. Sometimes we don't have to plan, but I just want to know I want to be architect. I think that's it. ครับ
Well, for me, I think we don't really associate the word entrepreneur a lot with architects, right? Because I think architects are a bit different. We run a practice, we run a firm. We don't call ourselves entrepreneurs or businesses, right? Our business is associated with our services or professional services as an architect. So I think it's a bit different from maybe Flow or April Fool Day because they're actually selling products, right? So I think architecture, in a way, we're running our own practice, but also it has to work as a business because you have to pay people. So for me, running a business comes second, but being an architect comes first. So if I have to be an irresponsible architect to run a good business, I'd rather not do that. So it's about balancing professionalism and the profession and business, so it's in a good balance, so everybody survives and still you can pay people and everybody can get proper salary. But again, it's not about the bigger you can be or the more money or the more projects you get. And for me, it was always about making good projects, making good architecture, and again, balancing that with business, I think, is something tricky that everybody, all of us, I think, are going through and have to go through as, being a designer and entrepreneur. So I think that for me, that was the two aspects that I think are interesting when listening to everybody's talks.
Is there?
Okay.
Do you want to add anything more? ครับพี่ดุกดิกพี่
Yeah, I agree with people that we have to balance between design and business because for me my situation is a bit different because my parents already have a business, right? So it's clear that I have to take on the business because I am the only son, and there's no other option. So I have to try to understand how they do the business, but in a way, what they do is kind of like an old industry, like production for foreigner or like an OEM. But for me, it's try to create a brand and do a retail stuff and also design our own design. So it's kind of different approach. I think to be an entrepreneur or designer who run a business is really crucial to do it by yourself, everything in the beginning in order to learn everything. So, and if you do everything in a way, you would know that what you doesn't know yet. And after that, you sort of try to figure out how to learn more or go to class or ask people or talk to people or read books. It helps to kind of like fill the gap that you have, and eventually it will become like natural. It doesn't plan like the boy said. It doesn't come. You didn't plan that I'll be entrepreneur today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
It just comes by doing.
Yeah. So I totally agree with like Pipon and Dupik that I mean our passion might come first because we are a designer, and it's not like sales come first. We want to make this because we want to get this much money. It's not like that, but we have to find the balance. But somehow, if I have to make money first, I rather not doing April Fool Day. I can go and do something else.
Yeah, definitely right. I think passion run businesses always there's a sense of uniqueness in it as well because you're not focusing on making profits, but you're just doing it because you love doing it, and I think that's very important. All right. For the next question, I think I'm gonna pick up from what everybody said about picking up the skills, like all doing everything, like P. Duk mentioned, like photography, business. Like I think the obvious parts of running a business is like knowing business management and finance management. But apart from that, I think the question might be a little quirky as well. But is there anything unexpected that you picked up while running these businesses? That became quite useful and you were just not expecting it. Is there such a thing like that? Like a skill or I don't know, a technique?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so is there like any skills or techniques that you kind of just picked up when you were running this business? But that was totally unexpected. Like, I think something like business management and finance management is expected, right? Like to know. Maybe it's a little tough.
I have some ideas. Actually,
Yeah.
there's many because to design is just one single part in the whole thing. But for me, maybe the important skill is delegation. How to delegate our works to others because when I start as a small brand, I can do everything by myself. I can take photos, I can design, I can do a sales as well, and calculate and those Excel sheets. But when it's progress like 5 years, 8 years, scale is increased. I cannot do everything all by myself. I have to delegate to someone else. Even design parts, I have to delegate to someone else, and I decide the direction because otherwise I'm going to be a bottleneck. The company will go slower if I do it everything by myself. I have some kind of like push from the factory because we have like 150 people to feed. if I go too slow, we couldn't afford to maintain those workers in the factory. So it's also my job to push forward. And in order to push forward, in order to scale, we need to sometimes sacrifice our attached to works that I love to do, such as design. I have to I hire designers, I hire a photographer, I hire graphic designer, I hire sales, and let them help. And I find out that delegation is really good. You get more ideas from younger people, younger generation. You get more experience from the one who more specialized than you, and you keep learning. And I think it's kind of like open my mind that you don't have to do everything by yourself in a way. You can work with teams of people, and that helps a lot.
That's a very insightful answer. Also, I think in order to delegate your own work, as in like, because you already have a very clear vision of how you want your business to be, and in order to delegate the work, I think it takes a lot of trust as well in your
You have to find the
employee.
right one, and also trust them when you select.
Yeah. So since Tuktik mentioned that, yeah, I totally agree. And it's very difficult for April Fool Day because as you see, like the process is so abstract and we cannot even tell like how it's going to end, how the end result will be like. So yeah, it's difficult to tell what we want, even to like the pattern maker, to the graphic designer, to everyone. They don't know what we are doing. So what I do is that I include them all into the process so they see it from the beginning, and when it goes like through the end, they already been into every process with us, even sales. They sit with us and they see how it works, and so after the collection launch, they will be very into the collection and they do understand everything. They can deliver and communicate all this to the customers. So that's how I work.
All right.
For me, it's about when my studio work a lot of residential, or more than 95%. So the way up my skill is about how we understand the people, because as you know, the house is just living, dining, and bedroom. That's it. And when we work a lot of people, we have to understand the people, what they want, and how we how to say it, keep balance between our design and what they expect. And it's kind of sometimes I'm like a therapy. I have to understand what husband and what wife, what they want, something like that. I have in the middle between both of them, and even the children, even the family. So it's very difficult to understand them. And then we work a lot, and we understand so many family, and then we just found that we have to listen to them and let them explain the way we question them. I think it's kind of the up skill of the understand more people. Yeah.
Yeah, Pifon, do you want to add anything?
No, actually, I agree with everybody. I mean, there is no expected skill. It's like you kind of learn and you gain really weird skills like climbing scaffolding as well, and doing and changing light bulbs and going to Home Pro and all of that. Even half of the time being the contractor as well as the architect and as well as everything. So I think it's the skill of really reacting quickly and being flexible and fluid to whatever problem happens. You kind of get ready to do all the stuff. So I think I've learned like a lot of weird skills, like climbing and putting things together as well, like showing people how to do things and trying it before asking people to do it. And it's not at all pretty or idealistic. It's very messy and tiring, but I think that I agree with all of the other lecturers here today.
So maybe I can add one more thing. So I think the leadership skill is like not what I have from the beginning, and I found out that maybe because I'm like the youngest daughter, of course, so I've been protected since I was young. I have no leadership skills, and we don't really learn this from our school. But one day when you have to run your own business and you have like many people under you, at the end you have to you have to develop the skills. So maybe 10 years ago, I cannot really see myself like who I am now.
Yeah, definitely. It's like to recap, it's all the people and social skills, right? Like learning, listening, learning about people and understanding them and empathizing them and also trusting them in order to make the work um, smoother. And one idea for SoA+D, I think we should have a wall with just like a scaffolding, and it could be like a little sports activity for the students because most of us don't move much. So
They should do it.
Actually giving a lecture like this is actually a skill that I never thought I'd had to do, like putting our thoughts in an organized manner and speaking to people and telling them what we do is actually a skill that you don't learn in school. So I think it's something also that comes with the job of running something.
yeah. All right. I have one final question. I have one final question. So if you have just one thing that you did not care too much or you did not know back in school, if you have to say something back to your um, university student self, or if you were to say just one thing to students who are interested in studying design, what would you tell them? Well, I think from each of you, yeah.
Can you repeat the question again?
Oh yeah. So if you have to, well,
Very
based
difficult
off.
question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep giving you tough questions. If you have to just say one thing to your university self, like what would you remind yourself? And like based off of your experience, right? And I hope this could be for students who are interested in studying design as well. So yeah, how would you?
I'm not sure I'm gonna answer your right question, but as my experience work with so many university, I think SoA+D don't have a pattern, don't frame us, so we can explore whatever we want to go, we want to be. I think it's from my experience, and I quite like it that the professor or ajahn don't frame us, frame us and support us and cheer us. I think it's very good, good university. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
เงียบเลย
Thinking.
For me, okay. If I have a chance to tell myself in the past, I would say that eat good food, try to sleep more, exercise, because everything that I did in the school is kind of like try to. I mean, my back is aching. I have to start running. My hair is lost, so I think I should eat better when I was in school. And I think
So fast.
I think we could take a rest seriously compared to working. I mean, it's resting is also help your productivity. You will better when you rest. Give good rest, I guess.
Super nice advice. I think it applies to us now even, not only students. For me, I think I wanna give advice, a bit more serious advice as also an educator, because I've also been teaching a bit at SoA+D and at INDA as well, right? Because I want to say to younger students, like, don't expect people to teach you everything. University is not a place for learning, like being fed information. It's for discussion, and it's for exchanging information. So don't expect ajahns to tell you the answer or teach you stuff. You have to do the work, and you have to find yourself. You have to research. You have to go see things. So I think a lot of students today are just they come to ajahns and say, what should I do next? Is this correct? will I get an A if I do this? These questions are not questions for designers, and they're not questions for future architects. The question is that, I think this, what do you think? What is your viewpoint about this issue? How is this issue significant? And all of these, I think, stop expecting people to teach you stuff and show you the way. You have to find your own, and you have to do the work, and it's just not black and white. And I think, that's just my advice.
So if the question is, what can I tell myself, right?
Yeah.
When I'm in university. So I'm actually really like what I study. So I put all of my effort and my time into the study. Sounds so nerdy, but I really did. I mean, I spent all of my time studying, and I know that I really like this one. So I spend all of my time doing that. But I don't really did much of the activities or like connect much with many other people. I stick with like my friends, and I know that, oh, I like these activities, I'll do it. I don't like this one, I don't do it. I don't like to go to this place, I don't go. So I feel like it's actually, what a pity. I should spare like some of my time doing things that I don't like as well, and like connect to as many as people as I can. So because it's actually very useful to have those connections, and you can exchange ideas and like in the future. So these days I also already did that, but back then I didn't.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much for all the insightful comments from everyone. Yeah, I think it's balancing in a university is really hard. Like, especially, it's just like P. Dutik said, it's like we don't sleep, which is not good. And like meanwhile, all of the professors are always telling us to sleep and like to give proper rest. But yeah, it's important to sleep. It's important to not just focus too much on studies, but also socialize. And it's important to stay curious and be curious about things, so that you don't expect to be spoon-fed, right? All right. Thank you so much for all of the for putting up with my weird questions. Um, thank you. Thank you so much for being here on a Sunday. And thank you so much for giving us your precious time for the school. I'm very much sure the audience enjoyed your talk and this conversation as well. And I'm pretty sure the audience will go back with a message. I'm gonna sleep well tonight. Um, so thank you so much. We're gonna move on to the next session, Kap. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kap.
Thank you. All right. Well, like I mentioned, I hope you all had a good chance to listen and reflect upon yourself and think about what you're doing, what you're gonna do, and how you have been, and hopefully gain some knowledge, found inspiration from our alumni who generously gave their time for us on a Sunday, and we believe that it's gonna this talk could help you path a way in a sense. And all right, and finally, the alumni talk is over. The open house is also open house 2022 event is also coming to an end. Um, it's been such an honor to be an MC here. I've been exposed to a lot more things that I never thought I would be knowing about, talking about, and it's such an amazing experience to have to talk to all of the alumni, all of the senior as well on for these 3 days event. So we on that note, we have two earlier events. We had one on 15th, and we had one on 16th, one opening and one excuse me, one opening and one alumni talk. As I mentioned earlier, those videos are all up on YouTube and Facebook page, and you can always visit our virtual platform to give the school a tour. Like you look around, see how the students are, see what the school student life is like, and check out the student exhibition as well, so that you can expect what kind of work will be um, what kind of work the students get to do at school as well. All right, and we've come to a little fun part of the ceremony. If you were at the opening event, I think you would know that we had a little quiz session, and we were saying that we're gonna have more quiz session today. For today, first of all, I'm gonna and give you the answer for the question on the first day. So the question that we asked back then was how many programs that SoA+D offers, and how many programs did we introduce that day? And the answer for that is it was 6 programs. It was architecture, interior architecture, landscape architecture, communication design, design innovation, and the last one is MIDI. And we're gonna end this event with a BAM. So we have a little rule. I'm gonna explain you the little rule. We have prepared 2 questions, and for the first, we have prepared 2 questions, and the questions are: the first question is, what is the new program of SoA+D? And the catch is, what is the program about? We want to know the details. We want to hear you explain a version of what you understood out of that program. And the question number 2 is, what topic of alumni talk that you interested the most? All right. And the winners for these questions, for the first question, the first people to answer from both YouTube and Facebook will get a Wacom Touch tablet with a stylus. It's a really cool prize. Um, and f- and for the second question, the first people who answered from both Facebook and YouTube will get a set of keyboard and a mouse, and that is for the second question. For the first question, it will be the Wacom tablet pen. All right, and we will be collecting all the comments. We will be checking the comments in the comment box and live chat function. And at the end of the event, the staff will contact the winner directly and ask for the address to give you all the the prizes that you get. All right, next up, if you, after all this insightful talk, after all this getting to know with the university, if you want to study, if you are a student who wants to study with us, you can apply right now until January 19th, 2022 for the next semester, or ask for more information at the numbers provided on the screen. We also have social media, Twitter, Line, Facebook, Instagram, or you can send us an email. At soadadmission@mail.kmutt.th. If you have any more question, and if you want more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us or go to our website. That the link is provided on the screen. And before the event concludes today, the SoA+D team would like to request your cooperation in completing the activity assessment form for this alumni talk. The QR code will be provided after I'm out of the screen. There will be a QR code where you can fill out a questionnaire, and this is really because we want to get we want to get the feedbacks from you as well, how the event is like, and how was your experience using being a part of this as well. Again, thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate you, and I hope this has been an enlightening moment for you as well. And I hope we can do more of this kind of event in the future. So have a good rest of the weekend. Thank you so much again, and goodbye.